everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about each of the zodiac sign, how they would be influenced by the Pisces full moon over the course of next 2 weeks. We have already gone into the detail of what the Pisces full moon will bring to the collective, both in the September lunation video where I went into a detail of it along with the geopolitical impact of it, and then in the weekly video also I have covered it. So take a look at that if you have not, just to take a overview of what's going to happen as a result of the Pisces full moon and what it means for us. Just few highlights before we go into each of the zodiac sign. This will bring back themes of 2015 in your life when the eclipses happened at this point, specifically March to November of 2015. If you would like to go back and relook at that part of your life, this is 28 degree of mutable sign. So at 28 degree of mutable sign, especially Pisces, there will be culmination, ending and release that will come with it. This is a harvest full moon. So new information which was hidden from us can also come to light, and with that will come conclusions and release, and we would be possibly creating something ethereal with this full moon over the course of next 2 weeks, which can be creative in nature, which can be spiritual in nature, which could be a product of our selfless love, which will grow in 2022 with Jupiter visiting these very degrees in May of 2022 and November of 2022. So this will be a key theme of 2022 for you as a part of your growth journey in 2022. And it will not just be part of your growth, this will be your contribution to the collective, especially to the collective healing that we will go through in 2022. So the creative breakthroughs, the epiphanies, the brilliance that you're having right now, that would come handy for the social evolution as well as the collective healing that will come about in 2022, especially with the Jupiter-Pluto sextile, which will happen in May of 2022. So look at the imagination, fantasy, creativity that you are exuding over the course of next 2 weeks and how to give physical form to that, because Pluto in 2022 will help you not just make a formal structure of that, a physical career or sort of a physical setup to it. It will also add influence, wealth and gainfulness to it. So that's what we are working with. Look at your rising sign, that is most accurate, and then followed by sun or moon sign. Sun sign I've seen most people definitely know accurately. That's why I always suggest to look at sun sign. The rising is most accurate to know. Moon sign is more relevant from a personal life perspective or emotional life perspective, but the combined effect of all three of them will tell you what are the themes for the next 2 weeks for you, all the way till 6th of October. My name is Charu. I'm your host on this journey. Let's dig in. Hi Virgo. Virgo, the Pisces full moon of 21st of September will initiate 2-week process where your relationships, commitments, contract and your duty to others will come to focus. This is your season. Happy birthday to Virgo sun. But during your season, when this 2-week period comes, the focus becomes your relationship with others. And because it's a full moon, we might be bringing to conclusion or completion, or something might be coming through when it comes to partnership and completion. It could be something that you have been working on for the past 6 months and now finally that comes through. It could also be something very important in the life of your partner that comes to focus. But your focus on others, your duty to others would be a key focus over the course of next 2 weeks. And if I speak to Virgo, they would say that that is always the focus for them, because since Neptune entered your house of partnerships since 2011, partnerships have become a source where there's a lot of take and take when it comes to others in your life. And you tend to attract a lot of people who need you in personal one-on-one capacity, either for guidance or for their spiritual and emotional stability. So you tend to attract those people, which has a place in long run why that is happening. Neptune will be there till 2025. So there's a purpose to this 14-year process that you've been going through of Neptune transiting through your house of partnerships, and we'll speak about it. But for the next 2 weeks, especially if you have planets around 28 degree of Virgo, which is around 20th of September born, either a partnership that you've been working on over the course of last 6 months, it comes through, or you would have to do something for another where you'll have to selflessly give to another or take care of somebody or perform your duty in some ways to others, which could be in spiritual, physical, healing capacity or creative capacity. Which could be combining forces when it comes to a creative joint venture or enter into a partnership which is creative and spiritual in nature, an elevated level of working together or a duty that is beyond norm which you're going in for. And it is also the time when we'll have to release a pattern of commitment, release a pattern of connection with another. And this is a longer term theme which might have been seeded since 2015 when we first had an eclipse on this very point. So there could be a relationship pattern which was seeded, or a pattern of connecting with your marriage partner, live-in partner, personal partner, or a business partner that started in 2015 in the way you connect with another. It's possible that something shifted when it comes to your partner since that time, since that eclipse in March of 2011. And now we have to meet that pattern head on in some ways. And we have to see the relationship for what it has become and either release a pattern and in some cases release a commitment, or we are asked to in some way finally see that relationship pattern for what it is. Neptune in your house of relationships, commitments, one-on-one contracts is a tough transit. It's a planet which dissolves clarity, dissolves boundaries, as well as sometimes through loss, it teaches us lessons which we need to have in this lifetime to be able to perform what we need to perform in our authenticity. It brings out the raw side of us, the authentic side of us. And in doing that, it chips away parts of us which can be painful and can be perceived as a loss, but it has a purpose to it. For you, because it's a critical axis, partnerships, relationships, commitments, they are critical to our happiness. They're, especially for you, they're critical to your soul's happiness. So when you connect with people on a one-on-one basis, Neptune over here makes you do things for others that sacrifices your well-being, sacrifices your interest in most of the cases, and you don't have boundaries with others. So there's no limit to which you would not go when it comes to relationships and others in your life, especially the ones that are close to you on a one-on-one basis, which could be your partner, it could be children, it could be somebody who really needs you. And that's what is changing who you are as a person since 2011. There is a purpose to why you're going through this process. You're dissolving this old way of relating to others, because the way that you connect to others, the way you give to others, the way you selflessly handle relationships has a place of healing in this large set of collective that we exist in. You have a larger role to play in the collective, and that's why there is a part of you that is changing, in an alternative approach to people, an alternative approach to partnerships, contracts, marriage, love, spiritual connections, your guidance and healing towards others, the way you spiritually guide others, heal others, knowingly or unknowingly, because of the way you help them, you bring out the best in them, you bring out the positive, spiritual, creative side of them. And that happens at the cost to you. But this is what a guide, a counselor, a healer, or a person who brings the best out of other people has to unfortunately sometimes go through. And that's a process for you that has been going on since 2011. And that would have been seen in the lowest form, in form of relationships taking advantage of you, or relationship matters being very confusing, or partners not clear, or partners taking advantage of you, or not getting enough support in relationship from others, relationships feeling like they're a drain or charity for you in some ways, and we go through this in waves. When Neptune is here, we idealize a relationship, a person, we expect the world out of them, and then something happens and we don't see the deception that was coming in the relationship, and then we get very jaded by the very idea of relationships, partnerships. We start forming a belief which is not the intention of this transit. We start forming a belief that others are here to get us in some ways, or that relationships are not for me, or relationships don't work out for me. And that kind of pattern over time tends to not do what is intended out of this transit. So what is intended out of this transit? The intention of this transit is to dissolve definitely the relationships that are not soulful for you. Because when Neptune is over here, you cannot be in relationships which are not soulful. You cannot be in fake relationships as well anymore. Neptune dissolves fake relationships. So either the relationships have to evolve and they have to go to that idealistic ethereal level that you expect them to be, or we need to evolve to a place of selfless love when it comes to others. And with Neptune here, the higher manifestation that we see is that selfless love is being taught. And if we are honest to ourselves, we will see the yin and the yang of this transit, which is essentially not only deceptive, needy people who take your compassion for granted come in your life. There are people on the other side. There are people who selflessly love you as well. They also come in your life, and that is because you become more open to different kind of people, people from different walks, people who you would normally not form connections with, or the relationship or patterns you would normally not follow. Even in your career, your life path gets elevated because of Neptune over here, because you change as a person. You become more open to what life has to offer to you. And from that, we go to an elevated path versus just a physical path of progress in our life. And that is taking you to another spiritual realm, which you would have not pursued if you had not gone through what you have gone through since 2011 with your partners. This is a very big significator of counselor, guide, a person who has people coming to them for spiritual growth, for healing, for guidance in some ways. And knowingly or unknowingly, your words heal them and you take care of others so well. Sometimes this becomes your profession. And it teaches you through others to find your higher purpose, because Virgos always have a material purpose. They always have a material purpose because they're so strict with their own life that they very rarely that they don't have a material purpose in life. And so that's normally not an issue. But is that satisfying enough? Is that path elevated enough? Is that where they want to go for long run? Is something that's questionable. So when we make these evolutions through other people coming and going in our life, the commitment to a new path is found because we shift in our consciousness, and that shift in consciousness, it always comes through children and partners and others in our life. And the selflessness that is waking up in you, that will make you connect with people who are creative, who are spiritual, who come from very different walks in life, and they would inspire you. They would become your partners. Neptune aim is not for you to not have your tribe. Its aim is to find the tribe that you can connect to at a very different level. So its aim is to find a union which is based on reciprocity, a union which is based on acceptance of both people's need, a love that does not cling, a partnership that does not swallow the other person's identity. So that process is a tough one, but we are looking for ethereal when it comes to partnership with Neptune over here. And anything less than that would not do when Neptune is here. Anything less than that starts feeling inadequate to the soul in some ways. So you're walking this very thin line of selfless love where there is still an element of expectations from other people, which is natural part of being a human being, but you're being asked to change, become a different person and not be an ordinary human being anymore when Neptune is here, especially when it comes to relationships and partnerships. So it's a tall order, but there is a thin line of selflessly loving others and becoming a person who gets cheated on or walked over. So we have to also develop the other side of it, which is to develop the intuition of knowing when to hold on and when to let go, of knowing when somebody is for you or somebody is not for you. And you, through a process of loss and deception, are learning and developing that muscle within yourself, an intuition within yourself, which will help you in practical life, because you now have Pluto, the planet of power, in your house of risk-taking. So you're taking the kind of risk you would not have taken when it comes to creativity, when it comes to business, when it comes to love, when it comes to children. So when Pluto is here and we are owning our power, we are owning our creative juices, we are owning our passions, this is a skill set which is going to flow into it. This intuition about other people, this shift in who you connect with and on what level you connect with others, that will become a source of positivity, a skill set that will flow next year when Pluto and Neptune are making a sextile with each other in May of 2022. Pluto and Jupiter are making a sextile with each other. So this skill set becomes a source of practical power to you, because it's like you sort of have a sixth sense about people, which becomes important when you are investing in them, when you start collaborating with them for powerful ventures, creative ventures, when you take a risk on things, when you start giving form to your passions, which is what Pluto is kind of asking you to do, to dig deep. And this process of risk-taking started with Saturn coming here in 2017. When Saturn came in your house of risk-taking and children love overall risk-taking. You had to create a structure around it. The first thing we have to do when Saturn came here in 2017 was to, let's take ownership of my happiness. Let me take ownership of my happiness. And taking ownership of your happiness could have been in form of you giving birth to a business, you giving birth to a child, giving birth to something which is passion for you. And now Pluto is saying, let's get a formal structure going around it. Either it is a business that you're forming a structure around, which could be something that you're really invested in and passionate in, or you might be working on a legacy, which is your passion. And similarly, children become a source of passion for us in almost an obsessive way when Pluto is here, and they become a source of transformation for us. Love becomes a source of transformation for us, but not a source of weakness, a source of power for us. So this sixth sense, through a process of rescuing others and looking for, developing the sixth sense of being able to bring out the potential in others, that and even being permissive or tolerant to all people from all walks of life, that is something that is going to grow positively into you owning your passions and creating some physical output of that. The people management part that you're learning through personal life, the test that you are being asked to be successful in your relationships, is something which is imperative for your business success. It is imperative for your success in the risks that you're taking and the bets that you're taking in life when it comes to commercial activities. And you'll see that pan out and see that roll out in 2022. And Jupiter will come in your house of partnerships next year. So what you're releasing right now, the pattern that you're asked to leave. And sometimes if there's a commitment or a partnership which is coming through, or a partnership or commitment that you're releasing so you can move on to something more positive right now, that will help in your evolution and growth next year when Jupiter comes here. Jupiter coming in your house of partnership in 2022 will make it easier for you to connect with others. Others will become for a change a source of support and growth to you in a positive direction. And this confusion over partnerships, relationships, it would start making sense why we had to go through what we had to go through. And it's a once in a 12-year transit that Jupiter comes in our house of partnerships. So you could look back if you want and see if there's a wave that you're riding right now, which you have to go over to see the other side. The confusion over partnerships and relationships could also be driven by that you need to maybe a spiritual practice, or you're being molded into becoming a guide or a healer. And when Pluto is in a house of creativity, those ventures become formal in nature. They don't just stay a hobby. When Pluto is here, hobbies don't stay hobby. Hobby becomes profession. And that process for you might have already started in 2017. And the people element part of it, the creative, spiritual, magnanimous, asking to take care of others part of it might be an integral part of what you're trying to do when it comes to your passions and business as well. This is especially true for the last decan of Virgo, which is around, I would say, 24 to 30 degrees. So that's the last degrees, which is in the 20s essentially, 16 to 20 September born Virgo sun especially. So that's what I have for you, Virgo. Hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next video now.